Hello everyone, my name is Brian. I'm a moderately okay Magic the Gathering player who, much like you, if you've found me on YouTube, watches a lot of Magic the Gathering content on this website. And if you've watched any Magic the Gathering content on YouTube, you probably know these guys. This is MTG Goldfish, a website and consortium of content creators that are on YouTube, Twitch, everything. Well, here today, I want to look at a very specific area of the website. One of the series that these guys run, specifically the gentleman known as Saffron Olive, is a YouTube series called Budget Magic. Now, this up here is all of the modern meta. These are the decks you're most likely to run into, and these are the decks that are probably winning the most in Modern. But you don't always have to play the meta decks. You can make something fun and exciting, and it doesn't even have to be expensive. Those decks are found down here. These are the budget decks made by Saffron Olive, or at the very least shown in a video by Saffron Olive, where he shows for about $100, give or take. As you can see here, prices change. And he sees how far he can get in a modern league. And for one of these budget decks, going 3-2 is great, going 4-1 is amazing, and going 5-0 is a reason to celebrate. But it goes to show that you can have a little bit of fun. You can get in there and mix it up with about $100 worth of cards. And because Modern is an eternal format, sorta, you can have fun with these decks for years and years and years and not always have to be chasing the meta up here, buying Ragavans or Steel Shaper Gifts or Mishra's Baubles, which are $40 online. You can just kind of pal around down here. But there's something interesting if you look at any of the articles that accompany any of these decks. For example, Simic Snow Stompy. This is one of the ones that kind of stuck out in my mind when I saw him play it, and Seth himself ran this version of the deck you see right here to a 3-2 finish on Magic the Gathering Online. But if we scroll down further in these articles, of course, there's a little explanation as to what's going on, what you're trying to do, how the deck functions, how you're going to best win with it. But then there's other versions of the deck that aren't shown in the video series, an ultra budget version of Simic Snow Stompy. He goes over them a little bit at the end and he shows them on screen, but he never plays a game with them. And specifically, I'm interested in this, the non-budget versions of these decks. As you know, budget is a real thing if you're playing Magic the Gathering. It can be an expensive hobby, but what if you just happen to already own most of these cards anyway? Is this version of the deck actually any better than the budget version? Just because something is less expensive doesn't mean it's less powerful. So, I did what anyone would logically do and spend 80 of my own dollars putting it together, sort of. Now, there are a few cards that I didn't own on MitGo. Didn't want to buy them for a video. Only 12 of you are going to watch. And truth be told, I don't think they're going to make or break the deck. If that ends up losing me a whole bunch of games, you guys get to make fun of me in the comments. So let's go over this real quick because I've already been talking for quite some time. Here we have Simic Snow Stompy, made by Saffron Olive, the non-budget version. Now, what are the differences? Well, of course, we're running fetch lands. Now, fetch lands have become a little cheaper. It's the 10th of January as I record this, thanks to being printed in a new master set. But in general, these fetch lands can sometimes cost as much as an entire budget deck. I happen to already have them. Other things that change are things like playing Jorn, God of Winter, and that being said, the Rimstaff, which can also help you in a grindy game. And then finally, the sideboard changes a lot as well. And here's actually where I've taken a little bit of artistic liberty with the deck. So here we have 2 Aether Gusts, 3 Dead of Winters, 3 Leyline of the Void, 2 Winter Weather the Storms, 1 Jagatai the Wellspring, and 2 Dampening Spheres, as well as 2 counter spells. Now, the original version of this list that you just saw was running 3 Force of Negations. Those are very expensive online. I didn't want to buy them for this. I don't actually play that much MitGo. I play a lot more in paper. So I had 3 spots I had to fill up, and Jengatha didn't actually have a ton of downside to play. Unless you side in Leyline of the Void or Counterspell, it's just a free card you can have, and replacing Force of Negation with Counterspell I feel is fair. This list came out before Modern Horizons 2. Now, Could this deck be improved with Modern Horizon 2 cards? Maybe, probably, but that being said, that's not what I'm interested in doing today. I'm interested in running this through a league and see how we compare to good old Saffron Olive when he was paying the budget version of the deck and I am using his non-budget version. Now, a couple of disclaimers before we hop into this. I am not Saffron Olive. Saffron Olive is a lot better at this game and plays it a lot more than I do. I am going to punt more than him, and I'm also probably not going to be as fast or as good. So he went 3-2 with his budget version of the deck. If we can go 2-3 or 3-2 with this non-budget version of the deck, given the general atmosphere of Modern at the moment, I'm going to consider that a success. But let's go ahead and take a moment and jump into a league, see if we do better than the man himself running the better version of this deck. Let's hop in and see what happens. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here to jump in a league with our Simic Snow Stompy deck. Let's go ahead and see what we can expect. Again, just to reiterate, Saffron Olive, when he originally did this with the budget version of this deck, got 3-2. We're going to try and replicate that or beat it with a 4-1 or a 5-0 if the tickets to Magical Christmas Land are going for cheap these days. But let's go ahead and see what we're up against first. Well, we've won the die roll. Hooray. Up against turn 1 Vial. I don't know if that's anyone in particular. Go ahead and show off Gigantha. All right, what do we got here? We got 1 land, a Frost Augur, Glacial Revelations, Merit Leisure Slumber, an Ascendant Spirit, and a Winter's Rest. I think we're going to throw this back. I think we need at least 2 lands. All right, this immediately looks better. I think we put back Conifer Worm because we have no ramp. Let's see, our opponent started with 7. Not exactly what we want to see. Let's put back Conifer Worm because he's going to be hard to cast and see what happens. So first turn, we'll go ahead and put down Rimewood Falls, our tap snowland. I realize I didn't go over the deck terribly well during the opening segment here, so as I play stuff out, I'll kind of show it. All right, so we have a Birds of Paradise here. This is probably the Yawgmoth deck, which is kind of where the Vizier combo deck went with Horizons. All right, so we'll play a Snow-Covered Forest, and we'll play out Icefang Quaddle on our opponent's turn. All right, passing it over back to the opponent. They play a Misty. Crack the Misty. Finds an Overgrown Tomb. Enter, play, untap, shock themselves. Is this already a Yawgmoth? No, Geralf's Messenger. Okay. So we get drained for 2. And it looks like they're passing, so we'll go ahead and pop our Icefang Quaddle. Draw into another Icefang Quaddle. That's not a bad thing. All right, see what we can find. We draw a Snow-Covered Island. So we could Glacial Revelation. We could just hold up Icefang Quaddle, which is probably better. We really couldn't play out a ton of stuff if we played Glacial Revelation right now. We're really not looking for anything. We're really just looking to stall the game out until we get our big, stompy, abominable tree folk down. He is one of our payoffs along with Conifer Worm. So we just kind of hope they don't have Yawgmoth at this point. Are they going to attack? They are. We'll go ahead and block. Instead of taking 3, we'll take 2. Have that thing come back slightly bigger. All right, there it is, coming back, draining us again. All right, what is their post-combat main phase turn going to look like? Looks like Wall of Roots again, so they're just ramping. Oh, I'm incorrect. Oh, there's Young Wolf. So we have all the creatures here for Yawgmoth to really give us a bad time. Let's go ahead and just flash out another Quaddle. All right, draw a card. Draw Rimewood Falls. Move to our turn. Draw Boreal Druid. A little late on the Boreal Druid, truth be told. I think what we do here is play Faceless Haven. So later, if we wanted to attack, we can. And let's just run out the Abominable Tree Folk. We'll go ahead and tap down Mr. Alf's Messenger. Because if they have Yawgmoth, our board's pretty dunzo anyway. All right, pass the turn. Opponent cracks a fetch. Finds another Overgrown Tomb. Enters play tapped. And picks up their turn. Geralf's Messenger staying tapped thanks to our big bad Tree Folk. What is this? Oh, this is a Chord. So this is them getting Yawgmoth, I think. Yeah, Chord of Calling for 4, so that's Yawgmoth. So they can't... Oh, they can go off because they don't require any mana for this. But I think this just machine guns our board down. I think that's just the game. Yep, so now we just get drained out by Geralf's Messenger, and we die. We'll go ahead and run through this. So essentially what's happening here is these guys have Undying, and what Undying literally states is, if this creature dies with no +1/+1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner control with a +1/+1 counter on it. What this guy is doing is he's looping his creatures. So he's putting a -1/-1 counter on the other creature, and then he's sacrificing the creature with no -1/-1 on it. So this just allows him to loop the whole time. He should be able to get us here because he's taking 1 damage for every... he stopped. Not sure why. I thought he would have been able to kill us with Giralf's Messenger, but apparently my math is wrong. Okay, so we have to come crashing through with Abominable Treefolk. So we want to get as many snow permanents into play. So how do we want to do this? Obviously, we want our land to come into play untapped. So here's Snow-Covered Forest. So we could Glacial Revelations, which will let us dig for other stuff, but I don't think that's actually going to help right now. So what I think we do is actually, we spin up Faceless Haven. They have a blocker, though. Volatile Treefolk has Trample. So if we attack for 7, he could just 1, 2, 3, 4, put 4 -1/-1s on that. I'm going to be honest here, folks. I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do here. So I'm going to do what I think is our best option. So let me just go ahead and put Frost Augur on the field, throw the Tree Folk a little bit, then spin up Faceless Haven, because now he can block the Faceless Haven. So I think that might have even been an error, but we'll see what he does. We'll just swing out. Math being for blockers. I think he could just machine gun the Tree Folk down. Or if he has like a Fatal Push or something in his hand, because he did draw a lot of cards. See what he does. Going on the trip again. Yeah, no, he's starting to knock down the Abominable Treefolk, which is what I thought he would have done last turn anyway. But it seems like the math is a lot harder than what I gave it credit for. I thought we were dead, but apparently Trample might be making his math hard. Our opponent's really thinking about this. I think they might have expected us to scoop once they had the Yawgmoth combo, but we'll see what they do here. Okay, I'm pretty sure we see a Fatal Push here, and that's just the game. Oh no, they're finding a Dryad Arbor for more blocking. I feel as though the fact that I am a very unintelligent person might have just cost me the game here, but we'll see. Okay, so they block the Dryad Arbor, they block that, they block that. So we super want Yawgmoth to die. And again, I guess they must have another Yawgmoth in their hand. There's no way they would just throw that away. Sign, yep, no, that all looks correct to me. I sacrifice Dryad Arbor. Yep. So I guess we should have just played out Boreal Druid rather than spun up Faceless Haven, although apparently it did make the math very awkward for them. Because this isn't lethal right now. Okay, they're going to 4. They should just be able to sacrifice, yeah, the unimportant creatures in the back and just make it show that Yawgmoth doesn't die. Because if you just let Giralf's Messenger and Birds of Paradise die, you should be able to kill me on the crackback, but this is a very interesting first game. This is me bumbling my way into a much closer game than I thought it was. Yeah, so now it's a 4/4, so just kill one more, buddy. You should be fine. Yep, nope, there we go, 3 days later. So I'm pretty sure I'm still dead at this point. He has 12 cards in his hand, so if he doesn't manage to win from this point, that'd be pretty impressive. Another Undying Wolf. Now he can just machine gun down the Frost Augur. Ignoble Hierarch, just for some variety. Strangle Rootgeist. Is he still worried about killing me? There's another chord to get Giralf's Messenger and just kill me that way? Oh, Blood Artist. I wonder why he just didn't do that in the first place. Heal through the turn, and again, we'll let him go off, so I can show you what's happening here again. So again, he has these Undying creatures where, in Magic, if you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature with a +1/+1 counter, rather than having 2 counters that would make the math weird, you just take the +1/+1 counter off the creature. And because of the way Undying is worded, that means they don't see their +1/+1 counter anymore, and they come back to the battlefield. So that's what's happening here. He's just running this through. Shouldn't be too long for us to die. We're down to 4. So, wonder if I made any mistake there. I mean, we got them really low. I guess if Abominable Treefolk had the extra +1/+1, it would have been more of a problem. So I suppose we can call that a punt on our end. Well, our end. I say our end. All right, and they wrap it up. Good game, opponent. Let's do it. Okay, so against this combo, I guess we definitely need the ley lines, because that should stop the creatures from coming back. That means we lose our Jangatha, but Jangatha really doesn't do a ton to help us, if we're being honest. What's not good in this matchup? I think Merit Legious Slumber is a little slow, and I think Ascendant Spirit's just one of the weaker cards in the deck. Because I do kind of want Dead of Winter. I do kind of want Dampening Sphere. I guess I want Dead of Winter more. And Aether Gust, you can put green creatures back into the deck, which I suppose is a bit of a time walk to them, but I think Dead of Winter is just better. Because this way we can just clear their whole board, especially if we get the Leyline. So we might have to mull aggressively into Leyline so that we don't die. Yes, I would love to play first. No land, no keep. This looks a little slow, and it doesn't have a Leyline either. Let's see, what's our opponent do? They begin with a full 7. That's not good. Guess we mull one more time, see if we can find a better 5. We can find a better 5. Okay, so keep. We got to get rid of 2. So there's our black source. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of Dead of Winter too. All right, play the Void. I'm sure they have some sort of anti-enchantment tech. That's got to be what's on the menu. So we'll go ahead and play Ice Tunnel. I realize this is a lot slower than our first hand, but hopefully they have to spend enough time getting rid of our Leyline. Like if they just Nature's Claim us immediately, then we feel really bad. Opponent plays Misty, cracks Misty, plays Forest, and then plays Young Wolf, which is just a 1/1 so long as Leyline is still on the field. Hopefully we don't draw a land. We don't draw a land. We draw in a Orion Tender, which is good for us. So let's go ahead and go find us a green source. There is actually one breeding pool in this deck, but I don't think we need it right now. Go ahead and play Snow-Covered Forest and get out a Orion Tender. Next turn, we can Glacial Revelations and refill our hand. Opponent plays Verdant Catacombs, goes to combat. Looks like they're just passing their turn. All right, we draw a Scrying Sheets, which we don't have to put into play immediately. We can just play Snow-Covered Island, which might be a little bit more helpful because we do have 1-drop. So we'll go ahead and play Glacial Revelations and see how many we draw. Okay, so we lose a Dead of Winter, we lose a Leyline of the Void, but we do get to draw 4 for 3, which is a really good rate. We can now untap our Snow and play out our Boreal Druid. So now we're at the part of the game with this deck where we're now digging for our finishers. We're digging for Conifer Worm, we're digging for Abominable Tree Folk. I didn't put in the Merit Lager Slumber because I thought the game would be over by the time I would get 11 snow permanents, but watch me be super wrong. All right, looks like they have to wait to find... Yeah, we could just take one. I don't think it matters. I feel like they have some sort of removal and they were trying to get a +1/+1 counter on that guy, but fine. Yeah, knew it. So they can now destroy the Leyline. There's Conifer Worm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can get that out and play Woodland Chasm, and then next turn, hopefully get out, like, Icefang Quaddle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Conifer Worm. And now we yield and we hope that we have slowed them down enough where the Conifer Worm can get the job done. I've been seeing a lot of this card around. This is really, really good. I'm not entirely sure why green got to have the white ability of sacrifice creature, kill enchantment, but what doesn't green do that white does worse? Our opponent is in the tank, willing to bet again. This deck we're playing is just so weird that we're probably making it hard for them to win, which you would hope is what most decks do, but here we are. So I'm anticipating an attack from Young Wolf and Outland Liberator, which point when the Young Wolf would supposedly die, they'll just sacrifice the Liberator and kill the Leyline. Or is this just a chord? Opponent is tapping and untapping their mana in a threatening aura. The funny thing, too, is if we top deck another Leyline, that would actually be great, and we do actually have the mana to play it. Okay, our opponent goes to combat. Opponent passes, which is interesting. All right, our turn, untap. Draw another Leyline. You don't say, deck. So I think we go ahead and do this now. Okay, so now we don't have to worry about it, unless they have enchantment in their hand. And what we can do, try and get around that. We had tapped our land better, we could actually have played Icefang Quaddle, but here we are now. So let's untap a blue source, run out a Winter's Rest, which will tap down one of their guys. They're a sacrifice deck, and Winter's Rest probably actually should have been boarded out. In fact, if we make it to game 3, I'll board those out and put Merit Lager Slumber back in, but it might just help us a little bit here. Okay, we're going shields down a bit, but we have 2 Leyline of the Voids, which should be enough to really ruin their day. Opponent thinking about blocks. Decides to take it, which is probably smart, because you're probably still trying to win with your combo, even through my double Leyline shenanigans. Tapping mana, floating 3 green at the moment. I wonder if this is like a Force of Vigor or something. Oh, nope, this is a Court of Calling. Board for 3, Griss. Brutal. Well, there goes our good creature. Well, we're going to be able to kill Griss, though, which is nice. I guess on the value train, we're winning at the moment. Another Icefang Quaddle. Okay, so we get to double Icefang Quaddle. I think we just go in and smack, well, Ice Fang, no, it's better this way. Smack him for 2, smack Griss for 1, and just exile Griss. All right. Oh, I should have played a thing. I didn't know how that worked. That is very unfortunate. We just handed them the game through a punt. That is unfortunate. Well, now I can definitively say that's significantly better than all the white ones, because the white ones only get to kill 1 enchantment. I could have just played this last turn, and, you know, they wouldn't have been in this position, but unfortunately, I am a bad Magic the Gathering player. So we went from having all the time in the world to having absolutely no time, because those are all 3 of our ley lines, so now they are off to the races. Okay, well, if I could have chose what to draw, Glacial Revelations is a pretty good one. So, actually, I guess these are just mana now. So we do want to go 1, 2, 3, try it. Okay. At least we didn't have to draw these 6 cards that were straight up dead. So play another one of those, and we can go ahead and... guess we're trying to move fast, and there's really nothing worth, you know, Winter resting down. Again, that shouldn't be in the deck. We are just getting so many punts, we can now count them on our toes. We'll go ahead and just Winter's Rest this thing down. Attack with everything else. Yeah, because another Boreal Druid's not going to save us, so... Alright, if they can just pull out a Yawgmoth now, we're probably pretty dead. Yeah. Sadness. Yep, and now he gets to just machine gun our board down, which is unfortunate. Alright, let's play another Quaddle. Hopefully we could find one of the bigger creatures. Dead of Winter, actually, factually. Okay, so I think the first thing we do is go to combat. See if we can get him to just sacrifice stuff. Opponent takes it, goes to 4. Let's see if this is enough. Tap some lands, and Dead of Winter. Let's see what our opponent does. Yep, starts the sacrificing combo, just to take down a couple things with it, I suppose. Okay, we're in much better shape than I thought we were going to be. So we can go ahead and play out another Boreal Druid. We can flash in Ice Fang later. We might just get to game 3, despite me punting my way through a field goal. Opponent in the tank, and they scoop it up. Okay, so that kind of worked. I think Winter's Rest is straight up bad. I'm amazed we won with it in the deck. So just Merit Leisure Slumber, Merit Leisure Slumber, Merit Leisure Slumber. We can put 1 other card in. I don't think it's Dampening Sphere. We want a counterspell? Well, maybe we put back 1 Ascendant Spirit. Maybe that'll help. Run it like that. All right, and we're back. This hand is very tempting because it has a ley line, but it really doesn't do much else. Unfortunately, I think we have to throw this back. This is unplayable, looking real bad. Okay, so we can probably work within this. So Conifer Worm is forever to play. I think Merit Leisure Slumber is also a little too slow. So really what we're doing here is we're trying to set up a Glacial Revelation, get empty-handed, and hopefully not die before our opponent just combos off. Play Misty and pass. Opponent cracks their Verdant Catacombs, gets an Overgrown Tomb tapped. Moves to their turn, plays a Nurturing Peatland, gets the Wall of Roots, and looks like they're passing their turn. So we'll go ahead and get probably the Ice Tunnel, because we want access to black, and we have plenty of access to green in our hand already. Let's go to our turn. Hey, remember when we put Merit Leisure Slumber to the bottom of our deck? So we have to decide now. Do we want to play out Merit Leisure Slumber, or do we want to play out Rime Tender? Rime Tender helps if our next card is a 4-drop, because that helps us win the game quickly, but we don't actually have any idea what's on top of there. There's actually only 8 of those. So let's go ahead and just run out the Slumber, because that has inevitability on it at least, along with Selection. So, of course, it was on top. Oh, the feel bads. Okay, so apparently I was supposed to be Psychic and know that Abominable Treefolk was on top of the deck and play out Rime Tender, but, you know, be bad at Magic. Another Nurturing Peatland, puts a -0/-1 counter on Wall of Roots, and plays out our favorite character, the Punt Maker. Oh, and a Strangleroot Geist to start the beats. So here they come. All right, we know on top of our deck is the Treefolk, which would have been great to get it to play this turn, but that is not how that cookie crumbled. All right, play a land Scry, another Merit Leisure Slumber to the bottom, so in theory now there are 2 Merit Leisure Slumbers at the bottom of our deck. I think we should play something so that the Outland Liberator doesn't flip. Let's go ahead and run out the Rime Tender, and just make sure that they don't get to kill things for free. Misty, that actually helps, so that can stay on top. Just in case they kill the Rime Tender, you know, they play out Yawgmoth and they start shooting stuff down. Their life total's pretty high still. Opponent plays Urborg, which actually helps us. This Yawgmoth now? Yeah. Oof, the Thoughtseize is brutal. They probably take the Revelation, though, and not the Treefolk. Because, like, drawing a ton, yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I guess they're figuring they're going to win now rather than later. Okay, so they get to do some Undying shenanigans and kill down our Rhyme Tender, because they can check in their Wall of Roots, which they really don't need anymore. They have a Yawgmoth in play. Yeah, no, I'm obviously not going to block that. You're not going to let me untap with a Rhyme Tender, are you? I mean, sure, we take those. Okay, cashing in the Wall of Roots now, looking to kill Rhyme Tender now. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, that's not a problem. Killing Merit Leisure's Slumber. This is also fine. The problem is every time they get to sacrifice a creature, they're also refilling their hand. We'll play that out. Thin the deck a bit. Get this out of here. Because now I think we have to hope we don't die next turn and just play the Revelation. How did I screw that up? Okay, so there are the two cards that actually would have helped us, but we really had nothing in our hand. We do still get a Boreal Druid, though, so hopefully that stops them from just going off all willy-nilly. I suppose if we draw another Dead of Winter, it does put us in a better position. If we draw a Leyline off the top, that'd be amazing, but I don't think that is where we're going with this. All right, hits us for 3, hits us for 5. Suppose we let this happen. All right, we're down to 8. They play out a Dryad Arbor, tapping mana, looking for another Strangleroot Geist played after combat. So now they get to loop a bit. Suppose we could just yield through this turn. Plays Birds of Paradise and passes. We draw a land. Okay, so if our top card is exactly Dead of Winter, we can come back from this. Let's find out together, folks. All right, here comes Icefang Quaddle, and we draw a Leyline of the Void. Little late to the party. I think we're dead, but let's see what they do. All right, we pass. Goes to the opponent, untaps. Tapping mana, this looks like a Horde of some sort. Oh no, Eldritch's Evolution. What are they getting? The Messenger? No, Blood Artist again. So it looks like both times we lost via Blood Artist, which again happens. You know, this was us going up against an actual meta deck, and I realize it's not as impressive to win against a meta deck with an unbudget deck, but we are still playing a pile of jank. We are playing a pile of draft chaff and snow permanents. But overall, looks like we're going to get drained out of the game thanks to Blood Artist and the old Undying trick here. All right, folks, and we gave it our all, but as you can see here, we have been summarily defeated by the Yawgmoth deck. So hopefully, now that we're going to round 2, we play something not quite as high up in the meta. But yeah, I'm also giving this a moment to let that guy hit play, because it is possible to play the same person you just played again, which not only makes for a boring video, but we kind of know how that match goes. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it. All right, and we found an opponent. Let's see what we're up against this time. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but you can have a good look, have fun. All right, there's Jingatha. I feel like we forgot Jingatha was in the deck. I feel like I do that a lot. I'm not great with companions when they're in paper and they're right in front of me. Never mind when I have to remember to click a thing. All right, mulligan to 6 cards or keep these 7. Let's go ahead and mull. This looks better. And I think we can go ahead and put back Tree Folk for now. Hopefully Merit Leisure Slumber and Icefang Quaddle allows us to search through the deck a bit. Let's see. They got a Verdant Catacombs and passed. Right to us. We have no turn 1 play, so we'll play out Rimewood Falls, thoroughly confusing our opponent and passing. They crack their Catacombs, find an Overgrown Tomb. If this is Yawgmoth again, that's going to be sad. Oh, no, we got some red. This might be Jund. Monkey? Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf is a thing. So I think what we do is we play out Snow-Covered Forest. Tarmogoyf isn't that big, so I think we can take a hit. We'll go ahead and play out Merit Leisure Slumber, and hopefully that can help us filter through the deck to find some helpful items. On top of the deck is a Winter's Rest. I don't think we need another one. Scry that to the bottom and pass the turn. Opponent plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracks, goes to find a Blood Crypt, dealing themselves even more damage. I wonder if we're going to see another Tarmogoyf. To see oh, there it is, a Death Shadow. So this is Jund Death Shadow. It's been a while before I've seen that, so it's fine. I don't think they'll have any anti-enchantment stuff in the main deck, so the Winter's Rest should even help a little bit. Another question is, do we play out... I think we just play this, and we pass, and we kill the Death Shadow with Icefang Quaddle. Pass the turn, opponent untaps, and plays a Wooded Foothills. Cracks the Wooded Foothills. Finds another Blood Crypt, untapped. Goes to combat. Swings with everything. Alright, so first thing we do is crack this. Really don't need a black source in the first game. We'll just get a Rimewood Falls. We'll scry and see what's on top. An island. I don't think we need that right now, so we'll put that to the bottom. And we'll get to have another peek again as I play out a Quaddle. So we'll go ahead and put this on the stack first so we get to scry before we draw. Look at the top card, which is a... Ooh, well, before I get to do that, that gets lightning bolted. So we're going to go ahead and take quite a bit more damage than anticipated, but that's the risk we took. And an Abominable Tree Folk, which I think is fine to leave on top. So we have that. We take roughly 1 million, go to 7. And our turn now is just going to be locking down their creatures with Winter's Rest and things like that. Well, I guess we play the fetch land before we can't. They double bolt us, they double bolt us. I will not live in fear. All right, let's see what's on top. Snow-covered island, go to the bottom. Winter's Rest, the Death Shadow. Take another look at the top of our deck, which is the Snow-covered forest. That can also go to the bottom. And we will lock down one of the Tarmogoyfs as well. Take one more peek at the top of our deck for this turn, and put the Misty to the bottom. We still could be dead. The one Tarmogoyf could still get us, but I'm pretty sure we locked down our opponent's threats. So let's see what they do. If they just swing in, that's honestly not the worst. All right, as expected, they swing in for 3, which puts us in bolt range. So if they have another bolt, they'll probably just play it now. And Teamer Battle Rage. It's been a minute. All right, so we die. Oh, a nice quick one to contrast last game. So against Jund, Death Shadow. I think the Aether Gusts can help. I think the Dead of Winters are great. I think the Ascended Spirits might even be good. Or at least just Slumber. That seems like such a long way to go against Jund. I do realize in that game, though, it gave us so much selection and put so many dead cards to the bottom. Let's nip a Rime Tender. Let's nip one Merit-Elasia's Slumber. Let's also nip one Ascendant Spirit, even though they might be fine. I think having things like the Frost Augurs and all that is actually pretty good against things like Jund, because we'll be able to go card for card with them. The Winter's Rests are probably okay. They're not amazing. I suppose since we put in an Aether Gust, we could take out one Winter's Rest. And then one more Ascendant Spirit. Run it like that. Let's see if we can get another W, or one W. Any amounts of Ws with this. All right, and our opening hand, it'll slow. These tap lands are brutal. Because like turn 1 do nothing, turn 2 play a 1-drop. That doesn't seem good. Let's cross our fingers here. All right, this seems different. Let's keep and try and hyper out a Conifer Worm. Our opponent mulled to 6 as well. Oriole Druid. Opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs, cracks, searches for a Blood Crypt, untapped, probably kills our creature and demolishes our plan. No, just a Darcy. Okay, that's also not good. Darcy is like a 1 mana, plays a Mishra's Bauble, a 1 mana Merit-Elasia's Slumber, and it does the damage now. You don't need to have 10 snow permanents on the field. Thus seeing the difference between Modern Horizons 1 and Modern Horizons 2. All right, our opponent draws off a Bauble, and we draw more lands. Sad. Let's play a Rimewood Falls and another Boreal Druid and attack, because our opponent's not going to block with their Dragon Rage Channeler. And then next turn we can Conifer Worm and surprise them if they don't just terminate it off the field. Or kill any of our mana dorks. Alright, opponent draws and plays a Bloodstained Mire. Cracks the Bloodstained Mire. It's an Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. Surprising. I guess they went for a slightly slower play. Ooh, the Thoughtseize hurts. Thoughtseize themselves. Oh no, they did not Thoughtseize themselves. They Dragon Rage Channeler the Scourge into the bin, and then they Thoughtseized us. And now they have a 3/3 Dragon Rage Channeler, which can just beat us to death. Come on, 4-drop off the top. Yeah, buddy. Alright, so Abominable Tree Folk. Keep that thing tapped down. Opponent is clearly reading our card. Play Rimewood Falls tapped and pass the turn. There might have been an argument to play out the Faceless Haven, but I think we just want to hope we rip good things off the top and just start smashing in for a lot. If they play like a massive Tarmogoyf or something, we are probably screwed anyway, and we wouldn't be able to attack with Faceless Haven regardless. There it is. There's the big old Tarmogoyf. Opponent cracks their Wooded Foothills to find a Stomping Ground, tapped, and looks like they're passing. So it looks like we will get a big old hit in. Ooh, and this is why we wanted our other thing in. In fact, it actually, unfortunately, we can't like pump fake this because we need our Abominable Tree Folk to be as big as humanly possible. So play out Conifer Worm. We now have an 8/8 Abominable Tree Folk, and we go in for a swing. I don't think they'll block here. No, that scans. Because now, if they have a Death Shadow, we've just given them the biggest baddest Death Shadow. All right, they play a Bloodstained Mire. I'm getting a lot of opponents who are just doing a lot of thinking. Oh, and they scoop. And we go to game 3. So what went right there? I suppose just having our big creatures before they could get online. But does that mean, is Merit-Elasia's Slumber doing us any favors? I think we cut another Merit-Elasia's Slumber, we put the Rime Tender back in, because we need to hyper out our big creatures. We still have Glacial Revelations to find our big creatures. I think we run it like that. I also wouldn't be terribly upset if we just sat here collecting L after L after L and we went 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It shows that the deck is good. It shows that I'm bad and I didn't do enough practice before we started the league. I really only practiced for like an afternoon before picking this up. All right, so what we have here is a hand with no blue mana. A hand with no mana. Our opponent mulls to 6 and keep. We have to mull to 5. All right, let's see what we can do here, folks. So we keep. We have to put 2 back. We don't have any black mana right now. We don't know if we're going to find it. So there goes Dead of Winter. And what else? I guess we put back Scrying Sheets and we cross our fingers real hard. We find the 3rd land. All right, our opponent plays a Verdant Catacombs, cracks, finds a Stomping Ground, plays a Hex Drinker. I haven't seen those in a while. All right, so we play our 1-drop, play out Frost Augur, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, draws, plays a Wooded Foothills, cracks, finds a Blood Crypt, shocks, Thought Seizes. Well, there goes our Yorn. Opponent actually thinks a lot about what they're going to take. I still think it's Yorn. I don't think Rime Tender is terribly important right now. Winter's Rest, I mean, that just, yeah, that's what I thought. Winter's Rest just falls off a Hex Drinker eventually. Oh, and they bolt our thing. Sag. Hana for Worm. That would be a lot more threatening if we had more mana. But for now, we'll just play out our little Mana Dork and hope it doesn't die and hope we draw a Glacial Revelation, which would refill our hand, which is something we desperately need right now. Opponent untaps, draws, goes to combat, attacks for 2. They're allowed. Goes to their second main phase, is playing something. Ooh, big dude. Big dude that's only going to get bigger. Well, we now know what the target for the Winter's Rest is. What did they... They did some... Oh, they leveled up the Hex Drinker. Glacial Revelations. Oh, no. So they're at 1. They really don't have much for next turn. So if we just Winter's Rest this thing... Yeah, they're going to hit us again probably for a lot with the Hex Drinker, but if they just pump all their stuff into Hex Drinker, that's fine, because hopefully we can just race them faster, because they're dealing themselves a lot of damage for their shadows and stuff. Plays a Mountain, 1 unknown in hand. They're just going to level up Hex Drinker, it looks like. Yep, levels it up, and swings for 4, that's fine. And they go Shields down. We find a Breeding Pool, which is good, because that's one of the misses. Actually, we'll just play this so we have a blocker in Rime Tender. So I think actually the Hex Drinker is going to get him there, because it's on 5, 6, 7, 8. They just have an unblockable 6/6 next turn and we die? I honestly think they have this. So they play a Verdant Catacombs. Yeah, they just start leveling up the Hex Drinker because we can't interact with it anyway. And unfortunately, even if we find the Winter's Rest, it's not big enough. Yep, so that was a misplay on our part by putting the Winter's Rest on the Scourge instead of the Hex Drinker. Because the Hex Drinker, they would have had to pay more mana to get it to knock off, and by then, hopefully, we would have had an Abominable Tree Folk or something. Don't think there's any way we get out of this, so let's just play out a Tree Folk. Maybe they don't find the attack button. But that is one of my many punts, and you can see this and many more punts if you look back at my other video. I think it's fair to say I don't play this deck a lot, and it's showing. All right, and we die to an unblockable Hex Drinker. That is sad. All right, and we go on to round 3 with 2 black eyes. Then again, we're going 1-2, 1-2. I think that shows that the deck is powerful. I'm just bad at it, which, you know, happens. And I did say at the start of this, I am not that good at this game. I'd like to point out to everybody while I'm waiting for the next match to show up, we have a little area over here, which is the undefeated decks area, as well as your trophies area. That number is going to be 0, and you ain't seeing my name in the undefeated area. I do not have the time or the wherewithal to, you know, get up there and get a trophy, I don't think. And we got one on the hook. Let's see who it is. Nice to meet you, Magic Rainbows. Good luck, have fun. Magic Rainbows has won the die roll, that lucky so-and-so. But let's go ahead and see what we get to do. Alright, we'll show off Chingatha. A card that I have yet to remember is in my deck. This actually looks fine. Alright, looks like our opponent is still thinking over mulls, but while they're doing that, I think we are right where we want to be. So what we have here is 4 lands, 1 land that draws cards, Icefang Quaddle, Rime Tender, and Abominable Tree Folk. So what the plan is, our opponent mulled to 6, we are keeping, to play out the Breeding Pool, and then play out the Rime Tender, and then turn 3, play out the Tree Folk, and leave Icefang Quaddle as kind of a plan B if they are burn or something super aggressive. Blooded Strand. This deck is actually great against control if that's what we're up against. Drawing 6 cards against control really does break their spirit. Alright, Leisure Slumber, let's go ahead, play that out tapped, and pass the turn. Opponent cracks the Flooded Strand in our end step, finds a Triome, untaps, draws, finds a wooded foothills, cracks, finds a steam vent, finds a territorial Kavu. Oh dear. So I think what we have to do is play out a... Ooh, our Ice Fang Quaddle's not going to have Death Touch. So I think we just play out Rhyme Tender, and we are going to take a big old hit. But then next turn, we'll either have... no, our Tree Folk's not going to be big enough, thanks to Breeding Pool, but we will have an Ice Fang Quaddle that will at least have Death Touch to hopefully stop it if it doesn't get bolted out of the game. All right, our opponent goes straight to combat, does some looting, throws out an Unearthed creature. I'm sure that'll hit us next turn. I'll just take 5. Goes to second main, and is a Manamorphose. That is never a good sign. White and red mana. Sure. Against some sort of zoo deck that is just going to grind us into paste. So we will play out a Snow-Covered Forest and yield through the turn, so we can hopefully... Ooh, no! Now our Ice Fang Quaddle doesn't have Death Touch again. We should have played Maralasia's Slumber. I am bad at Magic. So, unsurprisingly, they unearth that thing that's going to make us discard a card. I'm just going to run out the Quaddle and count getting this unearthed creature dead as a block, even though we're going to take 5 again from Ice Fang, or from Territorial Kavu, which is sad, but, you know, it's the life we live. We get to keep the cards in our hand, which hopefully will save us. We'll play out Scrying Sheets, and while Abominable Treefolk is not big enough to kill Territorial Kavu, it is a way to keep it tapped down while we try and develop our board a little bit. Although they have just been sitting there looting, making their deck better and better and better and better. I'm an old school Magic player, and I do love me some Kavu, but man, have Kavu's been kicking my ass since the 90s. Looks like they're done reading what Abominable Treefolk does and have gone to the next turn. I mean, it is turn 5, and they are still on 2 land. So hopefully they don't have another land. He said moments before they played another one. Another Manamorphose. Looks like they're looking for the land. So if we can actually keep Territorial Kavu tapped down, then we might be in business. All right, so we draw Faceless Haven, play Faceless Haven. And I think we just have to keep doing this. He's slightly bigger this time. Also keeps the Kavu tapped down, so they can't loot again. Hopefully they don't have yet another Tribal Flame. Another Territorial Kavu. Well, that's just unfortunate. Ice Fang Quaddle, this time a little bit more threatening. So let's see what we can do after we've drawn Ice Fang Quaddle. We can play out Scrying Sheets. And what do we do now? We obviously need to keep Territorial Kavus from whirling us out of the game. So we need to keep a blue and a green, which gives us 4 other open mana. So it looks like we're going to just play out Yorn here. We just pass the turn and hope they're not able to just remove everything and murder us. But having a 7/7 is not a small creature, especially if we can, like, tap down these Territorial Kavus. I mean, we're screwed if they start drawing land because, yep. Okay, so next turn that's going to start creating a million things, but what do they do this turn? Nothing. Okay, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and Ice Fang. Get an Ascendant Spirit. Move to our turn, untap, draw. Draw another Ascendant Spirit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think Merit-Lage is going to save us. I think we will die before then. We play out a Conifer Worm. This turns to a 9/9. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can play one more, and we can make our Abominable Treefolk a 10/10. We could also sacrifice Yorn and untap everything, which might be the play, because then we'll have our much more on the board developed, and we will have given them something to think about. Because I think next turn they just start casting multicolor spells and playing out a million golems, and then we just can't get them. So I believe the term is this is not a coward's game. Here's our Conifer Worm. Might be our backup win con next turn. Here's our Ascendant Spirit. So now we go in swinging, untap everything with Yorn. Well, except for the Breeding Pool, which is fine. Well, not really, because I guess that's our only blue source. I am a little bad at this game. I mean, if they even trade in the 2 territorials, that's great for us. Looks like they're not gonna. Looks like they're gonna take quite a bit. They're really making sure we don't save Yorn, which is fine. Yorn done scared them. Put them to 3. Okay, so I guess we can Scrying Sheets then. Actually, wait. We go 2 and then 3, we can make that a 4/4. That might be better. Because unless they have something that flies, we could just kill them with a flying Ascendant Spirit. So, but let's see what they do. They might just, like, go off with 1,000 multicolor spells and then somehow give everything haste. Wouldn't surprise me. Opponent really thinking about it. They have untapped and drawn. If anything, this snow deck really does make my opponents go into the tank. I mean, I don't think they're going to be thinking about it long enough for us to get a timeout win. But I suppose that would be another achievement unlocked, because while I am looking to only go, like, 2-3 or 3-2. Having an opponent timeout, I might just consider that worth the whole video. And also, you're not going to sit here for the next 19 minutes and watch this guy timeout. I do edit these. Not very well or very artfully, but they are edited. Plays a Bloodstained Mire. Cracks Bloodstained Mire for a mountain. Ooh, tapping mana. Bloodbraid Elf. Oh no. That is sad. Bloodbraid Elves. What do they find? Asali Ambusher. Okay. Another cool thing to make another golem. I mean, we plan on winning in the air, but we'll see what they do here. Okay, I think we have it. All right, we now have a flying 4/4. And I don't see any reason to play with them. I mean, they're tapped out, so if they have a slaughter pack, congrats. Otherwise, I think, yeah, nothing. Oh, no, they have a creature with reach. So we do kind of have to go all out here just this once. I think I just punted the game again. He's still dying in this, yep. Looks like he figured that out for himself and scooped. So against all the color nonsense. So clearly Dead of Winter, just amazing. Aether Gust also seems like it's going to get most of their things. I think, again, we nip some Winter's Rests only because a lot of their stuff does things outside of just being on the battlefield. Let's see, what else do we want here? Take out 2 Ascendant Spirits and 1 Frost Augur. Actually, no, 1 Meritlacia Slumber. Actually, let's take out another Meritlacia Slumber and put a Winter's Rest back in. And try it like that. So for the first time all night, we are up a game. All right. Opponent looking at their hand, seeing what they want to do with it, or rather just deciding if they want to play first. So the opponent hasn't even looked at their hand. I think that they just kind of wandered off for a second. Okay, Jingatha. Portion Jingatha. I never remember you're in the deck. Why did I put you there? 2 Dead of Winters, a Rime Tender, and a Tree Folk. I think we can make this work. They also chose to keep a million. Well, then again, their Territorial Cavus are 2 mana 5/5, so I suppose they have nothing to worry about. Play a Polluted Delta and pass the turn. Opponent cracks in our end step and gets a tapped Triome. That probably means they have the big bad again. Son of Drago. Domain. Each creature you control has vigilance. Wow. That would be great to remove, but we don't really have removal per se. What we have is tappy things. A Yorn. Okay, so do we play Winter's Rest on Son of... I mean, we're at 19. I think we really do want to hyper out things like Rime Tender and Abominable Tree Folk. I think this is better. Next turn we can Tree Folk down something, or if they truly do scare us, we can Dead of Winter a little bit. Flooded Strand. Cracks Flooded Strand. The Plains. Taps. Get a Rogrick. Rutro Raggy. I mean, we actually do get to just Wrath them this turn, because we're going to have 4 snow permanents. So I say we just do that. We go black, green, blue, Wrath the board. Well, Wrath your board. Our board is fine. Opponent takes a moment to see what just happens and lets us poke them in the eye. Dead of Winter in a snow deck is just so unfair. It's so nice. Opponent draws, taps mana, plays a Manamorphose. Probably just digging at this point then. Blue-red. Yeah, they could already make blue mana, so they could have already done that. Oh, plays the thing that's gonna be problematic. Okay, I think we just want to play the Tree Folk. Play Tree Folk, tap down the, what is this? Sidraxis Spectre, and pass the turn. All right, opponent untaps, draws, taps some manas, plays out a Ardless. I see this is like a general Ferris deck. Ooh, Lightning Bolt kills our dude. Very interesting deck. Question is our jank stronger than their jank? So we're down to 3 mana, so we can't play out the other Abominable Tree Folk. We can just Wrath the board again, and then discard something when they inevitably hit us with the Strixus again. It could be fine because we deal them 4, they go to 10. Like, what else do? We play out Yorn, cross our fingers. We could just play out Yorn and cross our fingers and set ourselves up better for next turn to really go off. And we can just probably discard something so we can go in and smack them around a little bit and probably put them to 9. Ooh, Path to Exile. I'm glad I attacked. Brian, remember when they let you fetch a land and you didn't get a snow-covered island? Just wondering. Opponent draws, taps, plays another Draco. First Strax, Hexproof, Lifelink. The Lifelink's annoying. Yeah, you could just hit us and we'll discard Frost Augur, I reckon. All right, we get hit. They go up to 17. We're going to Wrath them again, though, so hopefully they commit more to the board. Yes, commit more to the board. Do it in your heart. You know it is the right thing to do. All right. So we're going to put him back to the Stone Age again, and then we attack with Yorn, untap all our land. Let's see. I think we just put out Big Stompy, because next time we can Revelation, then attack, then untap, so that'll be fine. Opponent untaps, draws. Tribal Flames. This is going to deal 5 to me. Ruh-roh Raggy. So there's an unearth thing. I don't know why he's doing that, because I can just... What? Why can't I block this? Haste. Knowledge of the player. Why can't I block this? Haste. Oh, it is flying. Okay. Puts us to 4. We discard Winter's Rest. Play this. Do we Conifer Worm or Grace? Oh, well, I guess we can Conifer after if we can't find anything else. Keep that. Oh, we find so many things. We still die to burn spells, though, which is unfortunate, but that's the life we lead. Quaddle, draw a card, back with everything, tap everything, put our opponent to 3. So we probably need to keep the Ice Fang up, but that does mean we can pay out a Druid and hope we don't die to burn spells. Opponent untaps, draws, please no burn, no burn, played a Mountain, and that looks like a Tribal Flame. Darn it. I don't think there's anything that can save us, but let's just check. Nope, okay, we die. Sad. That actually worked great. Really not a ton. There's really not a ton else I want to do here. I just want to do that, but better. Do that, but 1 turn faster. All right, let's see what's in our hand. Oh, first I'll show off that thing I'm never going to play. All right, this has all the makings of good hand. We just need to find a black source, but I think this is worth keeping because the Frost Augur can probably find it for us. While getting to 6. I suppose I need a very specific hand because they're looking to have all 5 basic land types, and then on top of that, have a payoff, which is like the Draco or the Territorial Caboose, which is pretty specific. Doing some debating on 6 cards. All right, Jingotha, go away so I can forget you, and first turn Boreal Druid or first turn Frost Augur. Well, I think next turn we want to play Merit Leisure's Slumber anyway, so we'll play out Boreal Druid. Hopefully that'll help us get one of our bigger things out through quicker, so we'll just go ahead and pass to the opponent. Opponent plays a Triumph tapped. It'd be a great time to play on the fact they weren't 100% ready, but nope, we'll just draw another land, play out our Merit Leisure Slumber, and start trying to look for those answers. Boreal Druid ain't it. Put it to the bottom. We swing for 1. It's a race and we've begun. Or in more reality, our opponent will probably play out a Draco or Territorial Caboose, and we unfortunately don't have the colors right now to take care of it, which will be a tragedy. Draws, plays Bloodstained Mire, cracks Bloodstained Mire. It's a Steam Vent, so now they have everything, and Draco, yep. All right. We get a Yorn. Yorn is not bad. Let's see what we can get up top. Misty Rainforest. Now I think... Oh, actually, no, that's great, because I can get black mana. Not quickly, but I can get black mana. What we do, we play out Yorn. I don't think they'll kill us in, like, 1 turn. Play out Frost Augur. Keep leaving that on top. And pass the turn and hope they don't deal us roughly 1 million. So, pass to the opponent. Opponent untaps, draws. Sits there for about 30 seconds doing nothing. Sits there for an exceedingly long time and does nothing. Actually, I bet that looks a little choppy considering I'm going to cut all this out. Finally, opponent comes back, plays a Wooded Foothill, immediately cracks a Wooded Foothill. Gets a Mountain. Are they just killing Yorn? Oh no, they just get a General, which is fine because next turn we're going to wrath their board. Even better, they attack with Scion of Draco because I don't think... Well, they will block because they'll have first strike. So we do have to kind of trade this in. So we'll get the Ice Channel. Cool, what's on top? Rime Tender. No, sorry, that's not going to do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and Frost Augur as well. This is all going to untap anyway. Glacial, no. But that's good for next turn. Let's go ahead and swing in. All right, everything untaps. Be silly not to block. Then play our favorite discard, Dead of Winter. We know Glacial Revelation is up top, so there's no reason to Frost Augur, and we pass. Opponent untaps and draws. Taps some mana, plays a Guardless Agent, which is actually going to find them a million things. Oh, it finds a path and it gets rid of our food. I guess we could use more green right now. Frost Augur, also not going to do it. Goes to the bottom. Plays a Sacred Foundry. Looks like they're going to pass, and that's what they do. Untap, and we draw. Oh, before we can draw, we lose our Boreal Druid. An Ice Fang Quaddle. I still think we just run out Mr. Big. I think they're a little bit more concerned about Merit Leisure Slumber than to be, when in reality, I'm just using that as card selection. Boreal Druid to the bottom. And we pass. Opponent untaps, draws. Looks like they have a Tribal Flames. No, Manamorphose, so they're just digging. That's good. Makes a red and a blue. Plays the Speed Dude again. A Breeding Pool. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we want to do is swing, right? Yeah, they'd be silly to not have us do this first. And then if they have any sort of removal, they can do it now. Nope, they're just going to take 11. Go to 2, play a Breeding Pool, tapped, and we really show off that we clearly have something and pass. We shocked ourselves. See what they do. They have 2 cards in hand, and they do have ways of drawing cards. They do have a way of playing big things. The question is, can they stop, an 11-11 trampler? Nope, and we win the match. That's our first one. So if we can go runner, 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 we can actually achieve my goal of going 3-2. But now that we've made sure that we lost the first rounds, ensuring that no one's watching this video anymore, I'm sure no one will be here to see it. But now that I'm done being salty, let's go ahead and find another match. All right, and we found our match. Let's see what we're up against this time. Turi. Hello, Turi. Oops, they want me to do this first. Fine, Midgo. Now can I be polite? We are, and we have an unkeepable hand with no land. Maybe. We're going to have to get a dually. We'll put Conifer to the bottom because he's big. Also, because of the way Ice Fang Quaddles work, I don't know if we want to get the breeding pool. Let's see what they do. So opponent went first, played a Bloodstained Mire, found a Blood Crypt, and played a Darcy, so we're up against an actual deck again. Are we worried, or do we even care about Ragavan? Because, I guess it kind of counts as putting down 1 snow permanent if we play out Boreal Druid, and we do want to not get hit by Ragavan. Let's just go get the breeding pool, shock ourselves. Ugh, it's like we're an actual deck, so gross. Yeah, we'll go get Boreal Druid, and we'll try our best to stay alive, as it were. Opponent draws, goes to main. Thinking hard about their next move. Gets a polluted Delta, so it might just be Grixis, which would be unfortunate because that's a real deck. Yeah, it's Grixis Shadow. Inquisition. Oh boy. Actually, taking our Ascendant Spirit's kind of annoying. Opponent's thinking on what to take. Takes an Ice Fang Quaddle. We can't cast those. Oh no! As a second Inquisition, now they can take the Ascendant Spirit at their leisure. After binning a Death Shadow, oh, taking the second Ice Fang is good. And we can't actually play this. Okay, now we're a little bit sad because we actually found the polluted Delta. So what we do is we play polluted Delta, we play Ascendant Spirit, and we pass the turn. I guess we'll get a snow-covered forest, maybe. The next turn we can play out Abominable Tree Folk, but they know about that, so I suppose there's no surprises here. Opponent plays a Steam Vent untapped, shocks themselves. Plays a baby Death Shadow. Will not be a baby for long. Doubt they'll attack. Okay, looks like they're going to pass, and that's when we do this. So we want to grow the Ascendant Spirit, so we want to get something that's untapped. Looks like we're going to get an island, because that's how that fetch land works. We now have a 2-3. Frost Augur. Play Scrying Sheets. I think we still just play out the Tree Folk. Counterspell. Sag. Well, they're going empty-handed, so I guess the best thing we could do is find Glacial Revelations and refill our hand. But now we're going to get hit for roughly 1 million, and we don't have the ability to make our Ascendant Spirit bigger. I guess the best thing that could happen is just have 2 random creatures in their hand so that they can't make Death Shadow bigger, and we just, take a hit from Dragon's Rage Channeler, which is a thing, I suppose. But it untaps, goes to main, goes to combat, go to 13, Thoughtseize. Yes, they are dealing themselves more damage with a Thoughtseize, leaving whatever they want on top with Dragon Rage Channeler, and taking our Frost Augur. And we find a useless land. So I think what we do is this, and we just kind of hope that their last card isn't another Drown in the Loch, although, again, I have the power of foresight, and I know for a fact it is. So we'll just go ahead and make Ascendant Spirit a 4-4 and just play into it, because we really have nothing else going on right now. All right, on our end step, our opponent pays a Dress Down, which is going to make their Death Shadow super big. I guess we do this now, then. Gotta use the Boreal Druid to do that, eh? I guess we don't do that. Yeah, I guess we can just pass for now. Because the Ascendant Spirit should stay at 2-3. Yeah, I thought so. But they do just have a 13-13. And if they just play a Croxa out, then we're just super sad. Because we're going to have to jump in front of the 13-13 with the Boreal Druid, which is why we couldn't make Ascendant Spirit a 4-4. At least we get to Scrying Sheets. Opponent tapping, untapping, killing our thing with that Drown in the Loch we knew they would inevitably have. Thinking about before going to combat, I mean, if they just have a Lightning Bolt, we're just dead, so I don't know what they're waiting for if that's it. Nope, looks like we get to chump Death Shadow with Boreal Druid and take 1 off of Death Shadow, so cool. We'll wait until their end step in case their last card is Hand Disruption. Nope, last card is a Blood Crypt, and while they're doing that, we'll go ahead and Scrying Sheets. Hopefully find something. Conifer Worm, it's good to not have that be the card we draw, because we would just lose. Glacial Revelation. Well, I suppose we have literally no other play. Do that, do that, do that, do that. Play it. Looking at that. And again, we're going to take a lot of damage unless we find a blue 1-drop, which we do. Okay, so we get to survive a little bit. Continue the chump contest. And then next turn, we get to play a Ice Fang Quaddle to kill one of their things, because we're in a top deck off, but we have things that help us draw, and they really don't. Expressive Iteration. Looks like they put a Ragavan into the bin. Now this finally goes off. And Mishra's Bauble, of course, entered the Exile Zone, because where else would it go? Thus allowing them to get even more selection through Dragon's Rage Channeler, because again, in Modern Horizons 1, you needed it to be 2 mana and specifically be snow permanents. But then for Modern Horizons 2, it got to be literally any spell that's not a creature was card selection for 1 mana. And then it flies and essentially bolts your opponent every turn. All right, here come the swings. Go ahead and block the shadow. Hopefully we draw an untapped land. Oh no, play another shadow second main. They crack the bauble, look at our top card to see what we have going on. And we find, after they draw off a bauble, an untapped land. Okay, so that's literally what I asked for. Suppose I should have asked for more blue mana, or more green mana rather, but, you know, the breaks, they are them. Just play out Meritlage's Slumber, and you are really far behind if you play the Breeding Pool. It's kind of helpful at times, but other times it just seems like a trap in this deck. All right, take a peek at the top of our deck. It's a Scrying Sheet, which is a land. It's not a green land, though. We're going to go to 1 next turn, so I guess we have to find something better than a Scrying Sheet. All right. I mean, I guess if we just find more Quaddles off the top. I mean, there's already 2 Quaddles in the graveyard, so there's only 1 left in the deck. So we're probably dead, but, you know, hope springs eternal. Dashy Ragavan. I think we're just dead. Yeah, I think mathematically we're just dead, but we'll go ahead and play out the Quaddle just because I'm interested in seeing what we'll draw. Okay, so would we have done any better? So no, Island would have been bad. And then we draw Winter's Rest, which probably actually would have helped. So we're dead. We'll go ahead and concede. All right, against one of the best decks in the format with our silly deck. The Dead of Winters are nice. Leyline of the Void shuts off their Roxas, their Dragon Rage Channelers, and their Culligans. I actually think that's worth it. And we never played Gigantha anyway. So there's that. What are we taking out? We're taking out Ascendant Spirits. We're taking out Meritlage Slumbers, and we're hoping we just draw Glacial Revelations. Anything else we want to put in? And Counterspell just seems cute. Doesn't seem good. I think we just run it like this, and we cross our fingers and hope. Because like if we can get like a 7-card hand with a Leyline in it, and then, you know, turn off a lot of what their deck does, because Kroxa and Dragon Rage Channeler are a big part of it. I mean, we could just get Ragavan out of the game. 1 land, a Rhyme Tender, no. 2 lands, this is better, so this is a keep. These are all kind of amazing. Guess we try and go on the offensive and we put Winter's Rest back. Play the Misty Rainforest and pass the turn, because we're going to want to get a black source in case we top deck Winter's Rest. Opponent goes to their turn, draws, plays a Watery Grave, untap probably, and probably has some sort of hand disruption. Look, I'm a mighty wizard. All right, what is their handy bit of tech? Inquisition. Brutal. So there goes probably Ice Fang Quaddle, because I hate those cards. Yep, I think they're just taking the card they know. Yeah, you could do whatever. I'm going to go ahead and... Ice Tunnel or Woodland Chasm? Let's go Woodland Chasm. Yield through this turn. Probably cracks Bauble. Oh no, plays multiple Baubles. Okay, so it didn't matter when we fetch, because they're going to look at a million cards. $40 a card, those Mishra's Baubles. Because they more or less just read, hey, you get to make your deck 4 cards lower than the minimum amount. All right, so let's go ahead and play the Snow-Covered Island, play out the thing they know. So we have an Abominable Tree Fork, we have a Yorn. You know about Yorn, though. I guess we could play Yorn on his other side and just start playing out the Ice Fang Quaddles. I mean, they come into play tapped, but at least we'll be drawing cards. I guess it also depends on how quickly their start is here. Because if they play a threat that we want to tap down, that's one thing. If they just do nothing, then I think we play out the creatures while we can before the Drown in the Locks just our read counterspell. Okay, so there's Darcy. There's Fatal Push. Okay, so they made the decision for us, because we can't play out Tree Folk next turn anyway. So we'll play out Yorn on his backside, and starting next turn, we can just start waddling if we have nothing to do. All right, our opponent's also going to be able to do a million things, because leaving a Dragon's Rage Channeler on the board is just wrong. It's also another reason why not to Winter's Rest it, because you kind of want it dead. You don't want it just giving them the most value ever by allowing them to surveil 99% of the time. All right, there's the attack. Hopefully we draw a land. Okay, so now the question is, do we pay the Quaddle? No, I guess we just have to play Mr. Stompy here. I mean, I don't think you can counter it right now. Okay, and now that gets tapped down. And now also if they kill the Abominable Tree Folk, we just play the Tree Folk over and over again and keep their things tapped down. Looks like they're trying to deal themselves damage. They must have a Shadow in their hand. Personally, actually, I think that the Shadow deck, while it's very powerful, is not as powerful as the Rakdos deck, because I do think that Shadow is the worst card in that deck. Then again, Drown in the Lock is stupid powerful. Opponent plays a bauble, cracks the bauble, looks at what we have, decides it's time to just pass, draw a card in our upkeep. We draw a Quaddle that gets to come into play untapped, which is great. Although they probably have Drown in the Lock, which is not great. I think we just swing in anyway. They have Shadow, and we'll just have to play out however many, 14 counterspells they have in their hand. Right, and chunk, put them to 9, and pass the turn, because we'll get to kill Dragon Rage Channeler unless they spend their turn. Terminate. Sure. So on our end step, they're terminating it. We're still trying to pass. Okay. They untap. Looks like they're going to go right into combat. That's what they're doing, so they'll swing. I don't even remember if they know if we have this or not, but here we go. Opponent thinking about it. They have to have the counterspell. They're probably just thinking whether or not it's worth to save the Dragon Rage Channeler or not. Now, if this was an Ice Tunnel, I could have Winter Rested as well as a backup and felt smart, but I'm not smart. Yep, here it is, Drown in the Lock. Ooh, Culligan's Command. I discard my Winter's Rest and they get rid of the staff. They were scared of that staff. That's interesting. So I discard Winter's Rest, lose the staff. Still get to redraw a card though, at an island. Not terribly exciting. Okay, we'll do this and kind of reset the board. We're at nothing. Conifer Worm. That seems scary because that can turn into a 9/9. They need to do something about that or play a chump blocker at least. Hopefully they don't play a Shadow now that they've untapped and drawn to make my math hard. Drown in the Lock. Ugh. Well, I knew they had it. All right, is it just our turn again? Are we just gonna top deck something awesome? We're gonna top deck a land, but we're gonna leave our sadness for a little bit later, and we're gonna let's do that correctly actually. So we get this, we can play this, and hopefully they don't have anything. I mean, we drew an extra card this turn, but it wasn't a great extra card. All right, opponent untaps, starts tapping mana, expressive iteration, which means they'll put something. We could have gotten Jingatha. My brain hurts. I'm bad at this game. That's the first time I remembered it was even there. So next turn, if I remember, we can get Jingatha, but noopsie. Steam Vent into the Exile Zone. Looks like they want more lands. It's Croxa. No, it's nothing. Okay. Rime Tender. So it's 7. Rime Tender. I guess getting Jingatha is better than getting most things. So, oh no, we can't get Jingatha because we put the other things in. So the one time it would have been useful, we can't get it. So we'll just pass and we'll scrying sheets at the end of their turn so they can't rip whatever it is out of my hands. Because if we can draw like a big creature, hopefully that's enough to end this out. Okay, so they have a Lightning Bolt that they take the creature down with, but they don't have a threat yet. Like if they have a Croxa, we're just kind of out of luck. If they have a Shadow, we can kind of do stuff with unless they have more drowns. Okay, went and passed, so let's go ahead and try this. We've got a Frost Augur. Watch out, I have a Frost Augur. I know how to use it. They're Winter's Rest. So we'll Winter's Rest that thing. Drown in the Lock. Okay, that's fine. Which means we Winter's Rest. Your Shadow. Ha 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 ha. We had to use all our blue mana doing that though, so that was our whole turn. We pass. But untaps, upkeeps, draws. I mean, they're sitting there with 1,000,000 mana and 1,000,000 cards in their graveyard and 1,000,000 cards in our graveyard. So we're probably pretty dead. They've then played an expressive iteration so I can bring you up to speed while I was salting off. All right, puts a Blood Crypt in the exiled zone. They're probably not going to shock themselves. Oh, they do. What do they have in their hand that's like that important? Another Death Shadow. When we're kind of running out of Winter's Rests at the moment, as well as Icefang Quaddles. And a Darcy. And we lose our creature. I mean, if we had a Lightning Bolt, we could really make them pay, but we don't. So, I mean, let's see what we draw here. We draw Forest. So we need to find something or we're just dead. Icefang, that'll work. Play out our snow covered. Okay, so the Icefang will stop the Shadow unless they have another Drown in the Lock. Or Bolt, or Fatal Push, or Culligan's Command. This deck is very good we're playing against here. Croxa. Okay, so we need to play it now. Hopefully we don't draw something useful. Yeah, Forest, okay. So I will happily lose the Forest as opposed to losing my Death Touchy Snake. Unholy Heat, killing yet another one of the 14 spells. So they put us to 2 here. So unless we draw our own Death Shadow, we're dead. Revelations. Okay, so let's be smart about this. It's such a whiff. Oh my god. I want you guys to see this. So of the top 6 cards, only 2 were snow things, and neither of them fly. So that's the game, and yeah, we go down 0-2 on that one. Seems like we're getting worse as the night goes on, but we got one more round to play. Let's just go ahead and blitz this and finish this out, and then we'll do a wrap-up. I'll see you guys at the start of match number 5. All right, and we've found our final opponent for this particular league. KU! Hello, KU. All right, looks like our opponent has won the die roll. Here's our card we're not going to play. And here's our hand with no land. So unsurprisingly, we're going to go ahead and have to throw this back. We're up against another Lurrus deck, which can be one of like 4 different things. Mully. Okay, we can work with this. We'll keep... I think we get greedy and get rid of one of the snow-covered islands. And hopefully they're not playing something fast. So our opponent starts out. Looks like they're deep in the tank. They mulled to 6. Got a Scalding Tarn, cracked it. Got a Sacred Foundry. Looks like we're against some kind of burn. Play Rimewood Falls and pass. Opponent untaps. Looks like they're seeing the fact that we're a snow deck. Oh no, not another one. Get smacked in the face. I'm going to assume they have some sort of lightning bolt, which is why they're not doing it right now. I also think we do just hold back with our Rime Tender and do the Ice Fang Quaddle. Try and take one of these guys out, draw another card. Let's see what they play here. But untaps. Reckless Impulse. Oh, is this the red-white prowess deck? Well, now they definitely have a bolt. Well, surprise, we have a redraw. We have something that you can bolt. That you will then be allowed to make your guys super big. There it is. Well, at least we're not taking 9 to the face. We're only taking 6 to the face. We do get to draw a card. Hopefully it's another land. Or like a Winter's Rest would be neat. Yorn. I think Yorn's a little slow for what we're trying to do right now. Okay. So we don't have a guaranteed other land. We're going to take 6 next turn. Hopefully if we play out the Tender now, we can Tree Folk next turn and not just die super quick. But we didn't really have a ton of 1-drops. We haven't really been seeing a ton of 1-drops, which is interesting because we have quite a few. All right, they're going to get another peek. They get a light up the stage, which they're going to get to play. Attacking for 6. We go to, 7? Aye. So they're probably going to play the light up the stage now. Yes, they are. Does some surveilling, does some prowessing. No respect with the prismatic endings. Oh, wow, they're going to kill the Tender. They're shooting down the Tender here. That might just end the thing. Jeebus. Looks like I should have called it at 3, folks. Okay, so we drew the land anyway. How many lava spikes in the graveyard? Or lava darts, rather. 1, 2 darts in the yard. And I don't think we have another play. And I think like what we do once we sideboard is put in the black cards to try and wipe their board a few times. But unfortunately, these guys don't stay tapped down for very long. We'll go ahead and pass, see what they do. Opponent untaps. Plays Abbot to get another draw. Finds a Soulscar Mage. Plays a Mountain. Plays a Soulscar Mage. Just probably swings 3 in the air. Nothing we can do about that. Find a Rimewood Falls, which really doesn't do anything. Let's play it out and just confuse them. We'll play another big guy. And who knows, maybe they won't find the attack button. Maybe they'll just accidentally click through their turn. All these things are things that can, but won't happen. All right, and our opponent probably just... Ooh, oh, because they can just Lava Dart. Yeah. And Lava Dart. Yep, it's the end of that. The Dampening Spheres weather the storms in. Dead of Winter's in. Merit Leisure Slumbers out. This is the hard part now. 2 Frost Augurs out. 2 Ascendant Spirits out. I mean, we're not drawing the 1-drops anyway, so we might as well take them out. And hopefully these things hate them out of the game. Go off Chingatha. For those of you keeping count at home, I have played Chingatha 0 times. Find a hand with a colorless land and have to mull. Find a hand with no green lands. Our opponent keeps 7. They mulligan to 6, so I think we can mulligan to 5. Oh no, this is quite the way to end, guys. We gotta go to 4. Oh my. Oh no. Deck Y. Guess we just hope for a black source. But we are so done for. I mean, they also mull to 4, but I don't think so, guys. Guess we should have kept that all blue hand, but big oof. Because, I mean, if we could find anything, Dragon Race Chandler, we could, like, kind of keep up with them. God, and their 4-card hand had a Mishra's Bauble in it. Oh, my God. So they're just getting to look at all the things. Oh, okay. Okay, we might be able to claw back. Oh, look at that, folks. Oh, my hero. 3 mana, draw 5. Our opponent, let's see what they do now. Hopefully they don't have a land. Because if we can get down the tree folk... Okay, no, it doesn't look like they have a land. It looks like they just have another Darcy, although they have another Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so they do have a land. And they have another Mishra's Bauble. I am a mighty wizard. So we built our entire deck around Glacial Revelations. They just have the package that's in every Darcy deck. Salt levels rising. Let's at least go 1 and 2. Let's show that we're the better brewed deck because it was made by not us. Lightning Bolt. Hopefully we find a fetch land so we can go get a black source to Dead of Winter, but we are gonna lose a lot of life very quick. Conifer Worm. Okay, we have to stop the bleeding. Yeah, let's stop the bleeding. Let's just hope we have another turn. Abbott, they find more land. Okay, so they're officially out of their problem. We're still in ours. If we can find a black source, that would be great. Oh, now we have all their colors. Board, we find a Yorn, which is not what we need. Oh, we have to Prime Tender. We need a black source. If we have a black source, we can put them back to the Stone Age and we have a chance. But right now, we're just getting beaten to death. Opponent untaps, goes to combat. Attacks just in the air. Oh, nope, they're attacking on the ground too. I mean, if they have a bolt and we're dead, they have a bolt and we're dead. But we need the land right now. And it's a path. And we don't have a black source we can get with a path. So, 3, 6, 7, 8. Brutality. I guess there's more green cards in my hand. But at 4, which means next turn we're dead. Yeah, no, we play big old tree folk and we hope. They're drawing a card. You're going to go ahead and tap down the Darcy. Because now, even if we find black source, they all come into play tapped. Looks like our opponent found something to do. Oh, they're just putting Lurrus to hand. We get a turn. Okay, so now if we find the black source, we might be okay. That is not exactly what I'm going for. All right, let's be smart about this. If we Glacial Revelations, we'll probably find the black source. But we'll probably be dead by the time we get to play it. We play Yorn, that gives us another blocker, because they're just going to start bobbling. And Yorn allows us to really go off next turn, because that would actually give us the ability to play a black source and use it all in the same turn. So what we need to happen here is we need them to not have removal and to just hit us with Dragon Rage Channeler. Then we need to Glacial Revelations, find the tapped black source, of which there's only 2, and then we need to play it Suicide Swinging with Yorn, and then play Dead of Winter. So we could just be dead here, but we're gonna try. Let's yield and pass. All right, don't have it. I mean, if they have a bolt, we're dead. If they have removal, we're dead. I mean, they get to play Lurrus and they get to just pump their guys anyway. Okay, so here's Lurrus, and then they play Bauble and pump the team. Okay, team has been sufficiently pumped. We need them to not have another spell. Here comes Dragon Rage Channeler. Here comes everything. Oh no, there's a lava dart in the graveyard. We're dead. Yep. Okay, so let's concede, and let's see if the last card we were going to draw... Okay, so what would have happened? We would have drawn a card, and then we would have drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We wouldn't have gotten it anyway. Okay, folks, so let's go ahead and go to the wrap-up. All right, folks, so what have we seen happen here with this non-budget Snow Stompy deck? So the first thing I want to say is I think we can go ahead and rule out the Force of Negations causing us any problems. We didn't have Force of Negations. We really didn't even bring a counterspell. It just wasn't a thing. So what happened? So we went up against 4 meta decks and one kind of brewy, doing his own thing deck. And we lost time after time again to the established decks that are just more efficient, better at winning, more spiky, I guess is the term we use in this hobby. Did I have fun? Yeah, to a certain extent. I would have loved to have gotten 2 wins rather than just the 1, but of course everyone likes to win more. But do I think that this little experiment was worthwhile? Yes. Do I think this deck can be fun to play? Yes. Do I think I'll be running it through a league again? No. The leagues are very win oriented. The more you win, the more you get back. If you don't win, you get nothing back. There's no booby prize. There's nothing they give you for going 0-5 or 1-4 like we did tonight. And while, Seth went 3-2 with the budget version of the deck, there were things that the budget version of the deck did that this one didn't. So, for example, they had Blizzard Brawl in the budget version of the deck, which is actual removal, where here you'll notice we have Ice Fang Quaddles that you have to attack into, but Winter's Rest really isn't removal, especially in like the Yawgmoth in round 1, where you just sacrifice everything. Every now and then Winter's Rest is, a very blue way of taking care of something, but so many creatures these days, like Darcy, putting a Winter's Rest on a Darcy feels awful because they still get to get all the value out of it. It's just one of those things where it's not great. And I think that very much describes this deck. This deck is not great. But then again, neither am I. So if you want to try something different, if you don't want to play a meta deck, I highly recommend going to MTG Goldfish's website and looking around the budget areas and just see something you like to play and take it from there. Now, no, and this is another big lesson from this, not every deck you play and not every deck you invest into is going to be good. You're going to have some moments like this where you have a deck that just can't keep up with the meta. Or you're going to have to put a lot more time into it than, say, Burn or Dredge or Hammer Time or any of those decks before you can start pulling Ws. It is going to take a lot more work. It is going to take a lot more effort to get good at it. But you can, and we have Saffron Olive to look at to kind of prove that you can get good at these decks and you can show off their power. That being said, Saffron Olive played a $100 deck, went 3-2. I played a much more expensive version, went 1-4. So don't even feel like if you have a deck that you really, really like, that you have to put the expensive cards in. I realize I sound hypocritical in this respect, and I sound a little salty because I'm constantly going off against the Modern Horizon 2 cards. I'm constantly looking at those things going, oh man, this is too good, this is too much value, this is too much of a catch-all. And it really just feels like sometimes you have to play Ragavan, you have to play Darcy, you have to play Unholy Heat, you have to play Prismatic Ending, you have to play all of these things. You have to play the elementals, because if you don't, you're just not going to win. And I suppose it depends on what game you're playing. Are you trying to take down league after league and go infinite on Magic Online? Yeah, you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry, but you're just doing it wrong. Or are you here to see what works and see what doesn't? So we have this deck here, and after going through it, what changes would I make? Well, first of all, it was interesting that we had 11 1-drops, and quite often I just didn't have them in my opening hand. Like, I didn't Frost Augur a ton, I didn't Ascend to Spirit a lot, because the games weren't really grindy, the games were pretty aggressive. And I think that's what's happened with Modern recently. I think it's gotten a lot faster, it's gotten a lot aggressive. In fact, if we were to go back and look at MTG Goldfish's homepage, the top decks are really fast, aggressive decks. They're not things that stick around for a long time and really show off their power. They're things that, have one plan, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, some of them have backup plans. Like Grixis has Croxa that can come back from the dead. But a lot of them are just, here's my plan A, and by the time you're coming up with plan B, you're already dead. Which is why there's definitely a tier system here, and this is nowhere near tier 1. And I think we saw that when we played the Tribal Flames Zoo deck. We did well against that deck because we actually had things to do. And we were able to outvalue them, which was kind of hilarious. Also, we never went up against a true control deck. Control isn't really around a ton in Modern at the moment, because all these aggressive decks are just going faster than it. But this deck is amazing against control, because you're drawing 6 for 3. If you manage to get a draw 6 off, they can't counter every card you have. But we didn't go up against those. We went up against the decks we went up against, and, we got punished for it. So overall, I do think this was a good experience. Let me know if you want to see any more of Saffron Olive's non-budget decks go into a league. I'm game to throw more money at this problem and see if it gets any better. But until then, thanks for coming along for the ride, and I will catch you guys next time.